I've believed that in order to change a life, you have to change the life. And I believe very strongly that we are living in one of the most critical, crucial times of our history here in America.
Welcome to the Locala podcast, everybody. I'm Lisa Anderson, your host and publisher of Locala magazine. Before I introduce our guest today, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsor, which is Your Place Mortgage and Title. You can visit them at www.yourplaceocala.com to learn more about their services. But today, I am super excited because we have John Jackson on the couch. So welcome, John.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
Great.
John, you are the franchise owner of Unishippers here in Ocala,
Yes.
as well as the diversity engagement and mentor volunteer at SCORE.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you do some other things around the area too. So you're a very busy guy. And so I'm very excited to learn more about your life and all that kind of fun stuff.
Excited to be here.
Tell me what Unishippers is and what do you do?
Okay, well, Unishippers, we are what we call a 3PL logistics firm. So we do shipping, whether it's, as I state, land, ocean, or air, and whether from small packages all the way through to full container loads, traveling from state to state or internationally.
Okay. And you guys do all kinds of big packages and just kind of the standard shipping stuff that you would find almost anywhere?
We have a very unique model in the respect that I'm an authorized reseller of UPS services.
Oh, okay.
And because UPS is such a conglomerate, we have found a niche to reach the small to medium-sized companies and give it the personal touch.
Yeah.
So that there are various benefits and discounts and things that we can do because of that, and we tap into the emerging market of e-commerce.
Okay. Well, how did you get into that? When did you start that?
I purchased a franchise this year. I was already in the logistics industry for quite a few years. I flipped the business model because I was looking at the trends pre-pandemic, the whole things that was going on,
Yeah.
all the stuff that was going. There's so many titles and so on. And then through it, and then post-pandemic. And after looking at it and seeing how more people are establishing their businesses from home and doing a lot more online offerings. And I was already doing truckload items. I was doing what we call drayage, picking up things from ports and bringing them in and then going to distribution centers and so on and so on. However, as I looked at it, I said, there's something very unique taking place here. And I follow most of the trades for the industry. And I discovered, I said, wow, there's something huge developing with e-commerce. And since Unishippers had got into a contractual relationship with UPS, already being the second largest in the LTL or less than truckload industry, it was a no-brainer for me because that afforded you a lot more penetration into a complex industry. And everything's about positioning and then establishing relationships. Once people know that you have the positioning that you can do certain things, now can I have a relationship with you to get it done? So that was kind of the idea. That's why we said we're the company that works for you.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and back way up then.
All right.
And figure out your road on the way to your current journey right now. So I asked a pre-questionnaire question about what you were like as a child, and you said you were pretty quiet and shy. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Oh, yes. I'm a native New Yorker from New York City, New York. In other words, Manhattan area. Better known than the area I grew up in was called Spanish Harlem. And so it was quite a time to come up. And, I was an adopted child, so therefore I didn't have siblings around. I stayed within my family, but I wasn't around my siblings. And I wasn't afforded good health from the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, I had to endure a lot of the childhood sicknesses and illnesses that came through the community. So being alone and not having a lot of friends because you couldn't go out the way that you desired, a number of different things. I spent a lot of times in emergency rooms and in hospitals and out. So you kind of got withdrawn because when you tried
Yeah.
to fit in, just as soon as you got to have some friends, as soon as you got to do something, something would happen to pull you away, and that
Yeah.
type of a thing. So yeah, that's where that came from.
What did you do after you went through your childhood years? Like, where did you go to school?
I spent most of my years in going to school in New York City, um, and got into sports, which helped me break away from the shyness and what have you.
Hmm.
Found that I was a gifted athlete in different sports and what have you, and predominantly it was football. I thought that was going to be my life. That's where I was headed. I was going to the pros. Kind of a thing. As a lot of children were looking for an outlet out of the communities that they came up in. So I spent that time in New York City and then went away, did some early junior college years in Connecticut and then did further education from that point. But then I ended up going into a seminary type situation.
How long were you in seminary?
Well, I was in seminary for several years. I did most of my advanced work in theology.
Okay.
Became a licensed and ordained minister for, in the early years, and did a lot of travel within that. So my kind of got diversified, as people used to say in the early years that I was going to be doing that, and I said,
Hmm.
no, I am not. And they said, yes, you are, and I said, no, I am not. And it turned out that yes, I was, and so just embraced it. I felt that I had a tremendous amount of illumination because of it, and I fell in love with what we call the gospel, and have enjoyed it for all the years, and still do.
Yeah. Do you still preach?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely! I celebrated 45 years, and
Really?
back in September.
Oh,
A
fantastic.
lot of itinerant work, field work, domestic and foreign missions type things,
Yeah.
and even shepherded
Okay.
quite a few assemblies.
Okay. So would you consider that kind of um your primary career over the last few years? Since I mean it was
It
45 years,
has
yeah.
been the primary, and it's when you love something, it's not like work.
Right.
So it's something, and it combined everything somewhat that I've ever done together in one, so I can utilize that. So all of the things that happened throughout childhood, a culmination of things came together with experiences and so on that I started meeting people
Yeah.
and finding out I had the ability to be a good listener, and people enjoy talking with me, and for some reason or another, and even from my childhood, when I finally was getting better to get out in my teen years, everybody always just tell me their problems. Everybody
Yeah.
was bringing everything to me, and I was going, "Why are you telling me this? Did I have a sign on me someplace? I didn't ask these questions." And it's only to find out, when I got into that, and I had followers. People were interested. I was again being, shy and withdrawn. I was trying to get away from people. I was
Oh, right.
basically a loner, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Where are you going?" And it's like, "Why are you following me?"
Yeah.
Kind of a situation. You want to sit down and talk about what,
Yeah.
And so, it just continued. Even when I worked in various places, I was in banking and finance for a number of years, and I couldn't have lunch alone. And it was kind of a situation. If I sat at a table, I stayed in the building. My table was always full,
Oh,
and it was
jeez.
without any, you know, I said, who told?
Yeah.
What's going on? I'm not wearing a collar. No, I'm not
Yeah.
wearing no cross. I don't have a Bible anywhere. Why are they bothering me? But I think that when you go through enough things in your lifetime, and you endure a lot, you know what loneliness is like. You understand depression. You understand rejection. You understand different emotions that happen with people. When you see it again in people's lives, it does something to you or for you to be able to say that you could reach out to someone because you've kind of been there,
Hmm.
to a greater or lesser degree. You don't know everything, but just enough that you got a pulse for where they are. And, someone had to make an impact in my life to bring about a change. So, you know, I find that very fulfilling to be able to offer that back.
Yeah. I once heard a comment about being a situational extrovert. And I
That's
feel that
good.
that applies very much to me, and it sounds like it applies to you too.
Situational extrovert.
Yes.
I like that one.
So you did mention sports in your childhood, and on the pre-questionnaire, I asked if you had a funny story, and you said a football story. So I am very curious about this football story.
Yes, I was very fast, and one of the fastest people on any of the teams that I played with. So on kickoff returns, things of that nature, punt returns, they would call on me to do that because if I could get out in open field, I was history.
Yeah.
You couldn't catch me. Well, a couple of situations in different areas of the league. It only happened twice in life, which was pretty embarrassing. But I received the kick and decided to return it. As I'm moving through, I got hit, and it was such a shot that it turned me around, and I didn't realize it. So I started running in the opposite direction, and my own team had to stop me for scoring a touchdown for the other side. So it was like, and I was shaking and baking and spinning, and my bell was totally rung. I couldn't even recognize people
Oh
in my
gosh.
own uniform. They had to tackle me, to keep me from scoring.
How old were you?
So between it was one of the conference games in high school, and another time that it happened on a different thing because there's a difference between punt returns and kick returns. So it happened on
Okay.
two situations in two different teams. So it was like,
Oh
I'm
no.
like, maybe I should not be doing this
Yeah.
much.
I was like twice. That's
I couldn't live
pretty
that one
scary.
down.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
so that was my claim to fame, if you will. When you want to be remembered for something, not necessarily for the most embarrassing moment of your
Right,
life.
right, right, right. Well, I'm so glad that you hinted at that so I could bring that up for you again one more time, you know?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. And now everybody knows.
No, everybody knows.
Well, perfect. All right. I did want to talk a little bit about that you were once a UN ambassador, you say at large,
Hmm.
for the Social and Economical Council for 5 years. Can you tell me
Yeah.
how you got into that and what that entailed?
Also, very connected to ministry. I had went back to New York after a stint, and I've been involved to a greater or lesser degree in the political arena. Uh, Not as a precinct committeeman type of an individual. I like the whole processes of government and what have you, and been an advocate for the people. So I got back to New York on a particular visit, and I was going through a particular chaplaincy training, and someone came to me and said, I need you to meet certain individuals. And I said, okay. And he said, well, after talking with me, they said, you need to be a part of the UN. And I said, me? UN as in the United Nations, or is there another term that was there? Susan Rice was the United States ambassador at the time. And I got appointed. And that was another time and a tremendous eye opener because of what you get to be exposed to, and you have the access to sit in that chamber when
Yeah.
you go to New York and what have you. It broadens your scope because you see things from a world perspective.
Yeah.
More so we have a tendency to be quite narrow in our lives and our worlds, like the way that I grew up. But we thought everybody lives like that. And then if you lived outside of there and we saw something different, we thought that everybody was rich or something. If you, because Manhattan, New York, you got Madison Avenue and all these phenomenal stores and what have you. When you come out of a poor area, which was known as the ghettos of New York and the projects and so on, And you step in environments where you see people with these phenomenal vehicles and jewelry and shopping and what have you, going, whoa, how'd they do that? Where'd they
Yeah.
come from? Or we can or cannot do that. So when you step into an even bigger circle from a global perspective, it gives you a whole new appreciation for life, for people as a whole, all types of people, because there's suffering all over the world, and then you start understanding what they want to, the forecasts for the future. Now, life gets real serious
Yeah.
at that particular point, and it's something that sometimes you can't share certain information that you receive from those areas, but it gives you a lot to think about. When you return home, you're grateful, you're thankful. It causes you to look closer at yourself, how you view the world. Maybe you were wearing rose-colored glasses and you didn't realize it,
Hmm.
and now you can say, "Okay, wow, either I'm part of the problem or I'm part of the solution."
Yeah.
So that was that experience. Yes.
Okay. Did you do a lot of traveling with that position, or
I
did you?
wasn't required,
Okay.
but it was nice when I was able to do so
Yeah.
because I got the attention and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? And I know you said you've done some missionary work as well. So, what are some of the countries that you visited?
Mostly in the Caribbean that we went to, and then domestic. But we have works in different areas, different countries, even at present that we support
Okay.
and stand with. We're looking to send some people out, whether Central or South America, or we have places also in India and Nigeria and it says Peru, Guatemala, the Philippines. So a
So,
couple of things
a couple of places
that is
going
going
on.
on, and so it's America, we are so phenomenally blessed.
Yeah.
We really, really are, until you see certain environments and you hear about certain situations. You don't believe some of the stories that come at you that's even possible. When we're complaining that if we go to a couple of stores, yeah, we got a couple of stores, we got 4 or 5 stores, you got choices, and that's right. Wait a minute, the shelves. What do you mean you don't have anything of this or that or the other? I'll go to the other store, but they can't.
Yeah.
Some of them have the one store, the one village market, or what have you. And they're living on where electricity what gets turned off at a certain time of the day, and the power that comes through there also generates energy for the pumps that bring the water into their homes, and so on and so on. Things that we take for granted. We go walk in the restroom or the kitchen and turn on the faucet, and if we got children, they leave the water just running the whole times they're in there, and they can't do that.
Yeah.
So you get a whole nother appreciation. Yeah. I think everybody should do at least a short-term missions trip, 1 to 2 weeks around various parts of the world, even in our country, what have you. We involved with the Native American community, supporting that one, and then mercy ships is one of the things as well. Mm-hmm.
Today's episode is brought to you by Your Place Mortgage and Title, your everything agency. Purchasing a home should be as easy as 1, 2, 3. At Your Place Mortgage and Title, we offer professional realty services through Professional Realty of Ocala, mortgage and commercial loan services, and title services. We pride ourselves on customer service and education. Contact us today to learn how we can make your home buying and selling process a pleasant one. Visit www.yourplaceocala.com to learn more.
I did want to talk a little bit about what you do with SCORE as well and how you got involved in that. So, do you mind telling everybody exactly what SCORE is and just kind of a general overview?
Yeah, SCORE is a mentoring organization of generally retired business executives from every echelon of society that devote their time into helping businesses start, to grow, develop, whatever it is. And we do that through the mentorship. People go online and visit score.org, and they'll see the various individuals, and they can make a choice as to who they would like to have work with them, and then they can make that relationship happen through videos or in person or email, whatever makes them comfortable. I got involved with that this year because of the number of years I consider myself to be somewhat of a serial entrepreneur. Ever since I was very young, from selling Jordache and Calvin Klein jeans was out of my trunk of my car. You know, so no, hey, I'm a New Yorker, so hey, I got it. You need it, I got it. Come on out to the car, right? And so we saw that, but it was always find a need and fill it. Basic laws of economics. And I enjoyed the idea of business. I enjoyed the idea of putting deals together. I enjoyed the idea of seeing things come from nothing to something. And it's so many people that have these very high-level, formal types of education and have been the head of major conglomerates and corporations. They have their place, and they're phenomenal. They're definitely, not dispensable. You need them. However, I have been the bootstrap guy. So, and I find that a great percentage of people who are entrepreneurs, who desire to do something, are like that. That they're undercapitalized, they got an idea, a dream, and it's like, I want to take this up, but I have not a clue. And so they get to meet another dreamer that has done similar things in similar businesses, and some were reasonably successful, some flopped in a large way. Like I said, when I blow it, I really blow it, okay?
Yeah.
And so it's a thing whereas I think that I'm able to relate. So although we've done various things, I said, let me get involved with that. And that was kind of my intro to them to say, yeah, I like working with people that have a dream, to help them to get started, and everything from the business plan all the way through to an executive summary, and those that want to prepare for packaging for an SBA loan, that kind of thing, helping them get on the right track, telling them the right type of course. We have a myriad of varying courses and things that individuals can take and download and what have you. And it's nice we don't tell people what to do. We don't do it for them. Mm-hmm. But the idea is to listen and then respond based on what you hear them saying and see what their buy-in is. And always my first question to anyone that I work with is, tell me why.
Yeah.
Why the business? And why you? Kind of a situation. Why should I come across the street to give you $1? Why should I do that? And, and you see people, some people are visual, so you watch them, they look up to the left or what have you. Some people, you see them tilt their head. Now they're engaged. But someone that's really, not sure, one of the things I like to do with them is help them define the difference between what is a hobby and what is a business. Yeah. Every hobby does not turn into a business. So it needs to stay a hobby, because you're not really prepared. And I believe it's more emotionally, psychologically, if you will, to be able to be in business, do business, because it's going to take every fiber of you for business to work. And so it's just a hobby. You're going to get really upset, What do you mean I don't get paid? Well, Okay. Oh, you wanted a check on Friday. Oh,
Yeah, you might want to try something else.
So the many times that I quit my jobs, and I had this great grandiose idea when I was a lot younger, and I would tell everybody, hey, I'm out of here. Yeah. Wow, where are you going? Man, I'm starting my business. I'm out of here. Gave them my 2 weeks notice. Go out the door. And then it was like, oops, I didn't do that right. I didn't prepare properly. And then, 90 days, 100 days, 80 days later or what have you, the shame and the embarrassment of coming back and what have you start floating around the place where you used to work. Hey, I just come in and see how you guys are doing. In reality, it's like in the openings over here.
Is my job still available?
You guys liked me, right? And so, having lived that enough times, you realize, you say, wow, there's a lot you did not know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it could not have worked. So that's why I got involved, to try to help people to get the nuts and bolts together in the right order of things and help, keep it real for them and what have you, until they can get to the other levels of individuals who, I know people who have PhDs in business and all kinds of things of that nature, a lot of big MBA folks and what have you. And and they have their place, but the majority of the population is not there yet.
Yeah.
Because they speak another language. They speak another language to me, So, but I love I love my involvement.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm interested in how you got to Florida from New York. What brought you this way, and why specifically Ocala?
It was interesting because I had home in New York and Long Island area and places of that nature. Initially, they used to have a lot of advertisements, and we had snow. Y'all didn't. So it was like, Florida, you need it bad. We've got it good. Like I'm sick of those commercials. So I'm shoveling snow, and then, all right, I had one child at the time, and it says, all right, we're gonna give it a shot. This was about the early '80s, and came on down to Florida, into the South Florida area. Supposed to make a better life, because it was, even then, you made a decent living, but the cost of living was so high. The taxes and things was high in that area, and it was like, all right, maybe you made the money, but you couldn't find any of it because it was sucked up by whatever. If you had $500 in saving, you were like, yes,
Yeah.
you thought you got a windfall. But coming down, cut overhead, didn't need certain things, and then developed from that particular point. After a number of years being down there with my first wife, and unfortunately we had a divorce situation that took place, and after a period of time, I found out through a seminary alumnus who I met at a function, who was from here, and she invited me to Ocala to speak. And I got here, and I said, okay, I'll be glad when this meeting is over. I'm looking forward to leaving.
And what year was that?
I can't see a thing. And this was in the 90s already,
Okay.
so I can't see a thing, and everything is totally pitch black in front of me, And then the sun comes up, and there's a field of cows. And I'm looking around going, where'd they come from? And they were out there all night. So I came in that road, and there was nobody out there. So, it was kind of wild. So I'm like, oh, man. I said, all right, I'm a city guy. I need streets. I need turns. I need buses, trains. I need connections, right?
Yeah.
So get me out of here. But that's not how that worked out, obviously.
Did you wind up just staying, or did you?
No, I came back a couple of times,
Okay.
and then the young lady that I'm presently married to, which we're getting ready to celebrate 30 years
Wow.
together, poor thing, she got sucked into that, and I try not to make her too many promises, but then she started traveling with me up in this area, and I said, okay, we're kind of going to be moving here. And she was like, oh, okay. And I said, wow, she liked my jokes and she trusted me. I said, this is a keeper. So we'll keep her hanging on. And we came up. It was an easy transition, but living was easier. It's interesting that sometimes if you've lived a very fast life, which I did, you come to a place that you want calm. You want easy, the quality of life. We had a child here together in 1993, and it's like, all right, this is a good place to raise children.
Yeah.
And, life was easier and so on. And for the most part, we all got involved with a lot of things, met some phenomenal people that were from here, saw, things that we didn't even know that existed, because before I got here, I didn't even know there was such a place called Ocala.
Yeah. I didn't either.
You didn't
actually.
either?
No, yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, and my father had moved down here after divorce, and I was in my 20s, and he said, come move down to Ocala, help me manage my online business. And I went, where is Locala? I'd never even heard of it. Didn't even know anything about the center of Florida other than Orlando,
You
know.
see? You
Yeah.
see that?
So-
Let's say, had you known he's an online business, you could have stayed in Wisconsin and helped
Well,
him
I
out
don't know.
from
My
there.
eyelashes were freezing together, so I was pretty happy to go too. Didn't like shoveling that snow either.
Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin. Trust me.
Yeah.
That brief period between on the plane getting off and waiting for a connecting thing. I was like, leaving now.
Yeah, leaving now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, before we go, I do want to ask you one last question. And that is, do you have anything that you wanted to address that I did not ask you? That's okay.
I'm a big family type person, and I believe that in order to change a life, you have to change the life. And I believe very strongly that we are living in one of the most critical, crucial times of our history here in America. And I'm a firm believer in fighting for the family. I am the Marion County director for the Protect Our Children project. And our whole agenda is being an advocate on behalf of children, giving them the opportunities, fighting for their rights, their life, their future, their education. I believe every person deserves to have a balanced life, an opportunity for one, that we all earn the right to be heard in society. And if you don't have a voice yet, you don't know what to say to earn the right to be heard. So we want to be the voice to the voiceless.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, John. It was such a pleasure getting to know you a little better and
Pleasure's mine. Thank
hearing
you.
about where you came from. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining the Locala podcast. Once again, I'm Lisa Anderson, your host and publisher of Locala magazine. Please visit our sponsor, which is Your Place Mortgage and Title. You can find them at www.yourplaceocala.com to learn more about their services. And if you would like to read this extended story from John in our magazine, you can do so by going to www.localamag.com, and you can find our current issue and all our previous archive issues on the website as well. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us at Locala, where we focus on connections through stories.
Once again, thank you for joining us here on the Locala podcast. If you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you're alerted to our next videos. Speaking of our other videos, I think you'd really enjoy this one here.